All right, we're on.
All right. Hey guys. Well, I'm super excited today. I'm Oscar, and this is my good friend Doug Bender. Hey, Doug.
Awesome. Get to the.
It's okay. This is why.
Let's
This is
try that one
raw,
again, huh?
authentic. No, it's unscripted in a way.
Well, it's good to talk to you, Oscar.
Yeah. No, Doug and I have been just friends. For those friends that are tuning in, Doug and I have been friends for, I was thinking like probably 11, 12 years, because I think we met 2009, right?
We go back. Yeah. I move around a lot, so it's fun. I think you're now in my old friends group now. You're one of my older friends. So yeah, man, I always love getting to talk with you. You're on my list every time I get back in the Dallas area. I got a list of folks I want to talk to, and you're always on the list. So
yeah, because you live now in the Pittsburgh area, right?
I'm in the Pittsburgh area now.
So what's the town? You told me before, but I'd forgotten. But what's?
Well, I sometimes forget the town. It's really small. It's called Stockdale, but I'm basically about 45 minutes south of the city of Pittsburgh. My wife grew up in the area, and we felt called to get a little closer to family, and we actually even started a church here. We just celebrated 2 years, so as a church. So yeah.
Awesome. But you're from the Northeast, or just your wife is?
I am from upstate New York, so a little further north. But yeah.
Yeah, well, for those friends of mine that perhaps don't know Doug, or probably you did, because I was part of I Am Second a few years back. But Doug is, I think your title is Chief Content Czar, President. I don't know, but you are the guy who makes the great content of I Am Second, right? I mean, you've done several things. But also, you're also a church planner. You've helped with that all over the world. Have helped encourage small churches and churches of all sizes, really, to continue to be about the commission. So you've done so much. Anything else you would add to that list?
Yeah, it's a long list, but I've been with I Am Second since I guess about a month after they started, 2008, and I've been. I've held most of the roles there, writing various content pieces. I did social media for a while for I Am Second, and I've written the curriculum for them and some of our discussion guides. And my current role is I get to write basically anything longer than a paragraph is usually me. So I don't do the tweets, but I work with a person who does, and I get to do the blog and the books, and anytime we're putting together a piece that our people are going to use and get our films out there, and I help create the content for it. So it's fun stuff.
Yeah, well, I thank God for people like you who have a gifting like you, because I don't. Okay. So when I come in contact with friends who have your gift that can write more than a paragraph and make it sound so amazing, I'm like, man, thank you, Lord, for Doug Benders of this world, And so I'm just excited. Actually, we got a chance to co-author a book.
We did,
right?
I'd like to say I joke about this, but I co-authored a book with my friend Oscar, and I've never read his stuff because it's in Spanish. So I'm sure it's great.
Yeah.
One day I'm going to read it.
Yeah, well, it was Yo Soy Segundo, right? Historias Reales, Vidas Transformadas, which was the translation of I Am Second, real stories. What is it? Oh my gosh, I forgot.
Real stories changing lives.
Real stories changing lives. That's right. And so we got a chance to do that in Spanish, and then I added some Spanish speakers, perhaps some known people in the Latin world, and so it was all in Spanish. That's why you hadn't fully read it. But
it's like I know the stories because we did the interviews, and a lot of this, I've got the English version of those interviews.
Yeah.
So I was actually really excited that we had someone like you that can actually put to paper these awesome interviews we had, but I couldn't do it justice. Obviously, Google Translate is just not going to work when you're writing a book. So
no, I mean, Google Translate does great in some instances, but in others, especially when you're trying to get the minutia of things, as you know, Spanish, you have to use a lot of words to tell, perhaps one concept that you say in English. But anyways, that was one fun thing we did. And I mean, you've shared your story also on the IamSecond.com website, right?
Yeah, I have. So yeah, I got to, I'm trying to think how far back it was, but my story is one of those, I sometimes feel a little silly sharing it because it's not like I have this big dramatic thing, but for me it was.
Yeah.
For me, I grew up I was kind of a lonely kid. I was pretty lonely and I got picked on a bit at school. And, I had this repeating prayer to God. I said, God, I just want one friend. I just want
Mm,
one person who loves me, cares about me,
mm,
understands me. And I prayed that for a really long time. And It was a simple prayer, but I didn't need God to, raise the dead or do some kind of dramatic movement. I just need to know he that I had a friend.
yeah.
But that's the beautiful thing about God is that he knows exactly what we need. And you know what? He gave me that answer. And more importantly, what I learned was he was that friend that I never
Yeah.
knew I had. And really, that's the story I got to share on my video. We did it years back. We did an update on it more
Yeah. I
recently.
saw that.
And but it's funny now. I get to I told God the day I learned that he loved me, that he was my friend. I said, God, I don't know what it looks like, I don't know what this means, but I want to spend my life telling people that you love them, because I didn't
Yeah.
know that. And I think there's a lot of people out there that don't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
And
I tell you what, like, I feel that your story is actually one. I mean, I've resonated with it, and not so much perhaps like in the context in which it played out in your life, but I think we all have moments in our life where we do feel alone, right? We feel like there's no one there, and
yeah,
perhaps the people that we trusted have left us, or the support group, or the family that we thought we could trust to be there in the hard times would show up and they weren't there. And so I feel like your story is, yes, it's about, because I think the story is 12 years old, right? And you
yeah,
had a birthday and no one showed up, right? And
yep.
like, and
And that was
I can
heartbreaking,
imagine how that feels, you know?
Yeah, and that's exactly it. One thing I've learned through the years is everybody's a little bit lonely. I
Mm,
thought there was like lonely people and not lonely people, but that's not really how it works. We're all a little bit lonely at times.
yeah,
It depends on this, something comes up, something happens, like you said, maybe relationship doesn't work out like you thought it would, someone that wasn't there when you needed to lean on them. And you get that sense like, oh, I am I alone? And you feel it.
yeah,
And that's why it's so valuable, so vital to know that
yeah.
even if the whole world falls apart, God doesn't. He's still going to be there. He's still going to love you.
Right,
That's
right.
what holds us all together.
Correct. Well, man, and just I was actually went back and watched the video before I jumped on, and I was looking at the comments, and it's so fascinating how someone's story, when somebody shares it, right, it connects with different people. And sometimes you don't connect with everybody, but you'll connect with perhaps a certain sector of people. And so it was good to see people encourage, and you encouraged my life as I was reading your video. But then you've also are now telling other stories, right? And so, I mean, you've written several books. Obviously wrote that second book. You wrote the second book. I think you also wrote another book called, was it 365 Days, which was like a devotional as
Yeah.
well. And then you wrote about a year ago, I Choose Peace, right, which is another
Yeah.
book. And then now it seems like it's a sequel. Am I right now? Because now
Yeah.
you've written this book,
Yeah, that's
I
right.
Found Love.
Yeah. So when we really sat down, our team got together, we started thinking through like, what are those big issues, what are those big questions we're all looking for and trying to chase down, and peace and love. We want to have a peace about our lives, and we want to know we're loved. And so we collected the stories of, these are real people. It's not like we scripted them out. I say like, yeah, I authored these books, but I didn't invent the stories. These are real stories of, we just got to interview them, and I put it in a form that's perhaps more readable than the raw transcript I started with. But nonetheless, these are real stories of people, yeah, that found love, and that changed everything.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, as I was going through the book, I mean, you have, I mean, in this one, in I Found Love, you have David and Tamala Mann, which I know their story. I read their story, which is actually very fascinating.
Yeah.
You know, wouldn't know. Would you? I mean, just first impression, you wouldn't see that they come from a really hard background, right?
Yeah, they are the most joy-filled, happy people you'll ever meet. you can't help but smile when you watch them whether it be what they do in their music or in their acting, but they come from a really tough background. And yeah, and it was love that brought them through that. When they had different paths, but obviously those two paths brought them together. But they kind of made their name with Tyler Perry acting in the number of
Yeah.
roles there. Tamala has been a gospel singer for a long time, but they've on the personal front, they are people that really struggled. But you know what? They found love, but not just like any kind of love, like just some generic. Look, we're happy. But they
Yeah.
found like the real, genuine thing when they found God. God started to unveil what the real deal looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And that's so true, right? Like it takes that for us to get to that point where we kind of have nothing to hide, and then God sees us. But I mean, He's already seeing us, but it's more of us just kind of like surrendering and kind of letting Him just have everything, and the good, the bad, the ugly, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you see that, and you see that also Sean Lowe, Jessica Long, Mike Fisher. You have Carrie Underwood in here too. Tell
Yeah.
me about that. Like,
Yeah,
I
their
mean,
story was interesting. Mike Fisher, Carrie Underwood. Mike Fisher, if you're a hockey fan, you know his name. Great hockey player. Played for the Predators for a while. Also the Ottawa Senators. But Carrie Underwood, you probably recognize that name, singing
yeah, yeah,
for geez, 20 years now, forever. But
yeah, yeah.
fantastic voice.
Man.
But
Please help me tell Jesus take the wheel.
there you
Like,
go.
so I love that song.
Right. Well, the interesting thing about their story is, I guess you think, oh, they're like perfect lives, right? Nothing goes wrong, but that's not how it works.
Mm,
And they really, number of years ago, they had a miscarriage. They were trying to have a kid,
yeah.
had a miscarriage, and then they had another one, and then they had another one, and it
Oh, it
really
was
pushed
3. I didn't
them.
know it was 3. Wow.
Yeah, it really pushed them to like, man, this is a different relationship with God I thought we were having. You know what I mean?
Mm, yeah.
And that's kind of what happens when rough things come. You have a choice. It's really like a crossroads. Like, all right, am I gonna leave and just abandon this thing, or are we gonna elevate? You know, and for both of them, they learned that God's love is deeper than what they ever knew was possible, and that came about when God walked them through those hardships, when He walked them through those losses, and that's why He lets us go through some of those hard things, because there are things you can't learn when everything's great.
Correct.
Just the
Correct.
it's just maybe it's just human frailty that our ears aren't as well tuned when things are going well,
Yeah.
and but yeah, and so yeah, we got to capture that story in the book of their journey through that period of hardship, and yeah, really fantastic stuff.
Yeah. And man, I know as an author, like, I mean, you obviously, like you said, you don't make up the stories. You're not, this isn't fiction, right? Like you're just capturing, you're in essence a historian, right? For what God is already doing in people's lives. But I bet as you, as the author, you're resonating with certain aspects of people's lives. Like, I mean, what are 2 or 3 that come up that you're like, dude, when I was writing this,
Mm,
especially for this book, this hit me.
yeah.
Like share with us a couple of those.
Yeah, actually, funny enough, the Carrie Underwood and Mike Fisher story is one of those ones that really hit close to home. My wife and I, we went through our own miscarriage a number of years back. In fact, I had a stillborn birth as well. In fact, the first time that happened to us was the day my second book for I Am Second was due to the publisher. Like I was sitting at a coffee shop while my wife was at a sonogram appointment, and I'm supposed to send off my final edits. So it goes to the printer, and she texts me, and
Bro.
and and that was, and that's part of, it's the Live Second book. That one strikes home for me because I was writing stuff right there at the coffee shop, and then I was like, immediately I got to go figure out how to live this stuff out in some hard situations. So yeah, that story. And so when they're expressing their feelings and their struggles, I was like, dude, I had those. I know what you're saying.
Wow.
Yeah,
Bro, I didn't know that. Wow,
yeah,
that's crazy, right? Just because I mean, as you say that, I mean, we had a miscarriage. Our first, I would say our first child, because they're
yeah,
a person, um, and um, and so that's actually one that I resonated with too, as you talked
mm,
about it now. But I didn't know that's what had happened to you as you were writing even the book as
yeah,
well.
yeah. In fact, the last couple chapters there of that devotional, I never got my final edits in because I just had it. I sent the email. I said, I got to go. And so there might
Wow.
be a couple missing commas in that chapter, but I'm sure it's still great.
Man. Well, it's just, I mean, those are moments in life, right? Like,
Yeah,
that are filled with pain, that are filled with doubt, that are filled with just uncertainty about life, and obviously, it kind of pushes us it places is in a position where it's like, God, where are you, right?
yeah,
And so, it's just so cool, man, to see you as the author telling these stories, but obviously, you're resonating with them as you're telling them.
yeah.
um, it's just cool. So I just want to encourage people, go out and get the book. How could they get this? How could get a hold of it, Doug?
Yeah, go. You get this book anywhere you get books. So I found love thebook.com is where you can go, but you can get it
Oh, good.
anywhere. Amazon, your local bookstore may even have it, if that exists in your town. But yeah, it's everywhere. It's good stuff, great stories. These people have, I'm so grateful that they sat down with us and shared their story and let us help them tell it. So exciting stuff.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for jumping on. And seriously, I just hope, and this is one of my greatest, I think, enjoyments in my life, is to share friends with others. And so I get to share one of my close friends, Doug, who we've worked through and worked with, and have walked through life and years together. And so I'm glad now other friends will get to meet you, and hopefully they'll follow you on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you're at. But even more, that they would be drawn to Jesus, as you put pen to paper and share these stories with us, man. So I love you. Thank you for jumping on. And any last words you would add to some
Yeah,
new
man.
friends that perhaps you're gonna make?
Yeah, well, right back at you. I always love talking with you, and this was a great excuse to get to catch up with you. And yeah, go check out the book, I Found Love. Go check out our website. We got lots of new stuff. In fact, we got a film coming out. Well, the 23rd. I don't know when you're going to see this. We're filming this
Yeah,
on the 22nd, so we got it
yeah.
coming out tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, brand new film. So, yeah, go check us
So
out.
can you tell us who it
IamSecond.com.
is or not? You're not. You
Jason
can't tell
Lee.
us.
You probably won't recognize his name, but
Who?
fantastic story. Jason Lee.
Jason Lee. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, I just want to address for others who are out there that, man, if you feel like you just need someone to talk to, and chat with about perhaps some of the things that you read, or perhaps some of the things that we said today during our talk, I just want you to know God loves you, and He's brought His church, His people, as His provision, for you not to be alone, for you not to feel in despair, or feel like nobody's listening. I think God speaks through people, and so I just hope that you would plug into your local church. And if you, by any chance, don't have a local church, right? Will you just you can visit iamsecond.com, right? And then there's a place there. There's a chat feature. Go on, and I know they'll connect with you. But if you want to connect with any of us, I would be honored to walk with you through that. And perhaps you don't know the story of Jesus. I think it goes without saying, Jesus has changed our lives. He can change your lives. He can transform your life, and that's what we're about. Now we just can't tell, we can't get enough of it. You just got to tell people about it. So we
That's
use
right.
any medium to tell them, right? So
That's right.
anyways, that's what Doug and I desire more for you. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you, everyone. And so again, go check out the book, I Found Love. Go follow my boy Doug, and I think you're gonna have a blast. I love you guys. Take care.